What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Well-Rounded Individual. I'm your host, Adam Schindler. If you're watching this right now, thank you for being here. Please do me a favor, hit that, click that like and subscribe button just below us. I've got another great episode for you. Today's a special one because I've got my favorite person here. I've got someone that I've known my entire life. He's a lifelong athlete. He's a military veteran, a husband, a father, and still an athlete, still a well-rounded individual. My little brother, Andrew Schindler. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much thank you so much for doing this. I've been thinking about wanting to have you on for a long time, but I really wanted to do it in person, but I think we'll have to do a part one virtual, and then a part two in the future, with you sitting right across from me.
Yeah, Jess and I have been talking about coming out to Las Vegas probably early next year, probably for her birthday or something. Be a cool little trip.
Nice. That's March, right? Her birthday in March?
May.
Oh, okay. Excellent. That's a perfect time. Vegas is great in May. So, even though you're a special guest, I'm going to treat you like everyone else to begin with. And I got the first question that I ask everyone. With this show being well-rounded individual, what are some characteristics, what are some things that would define a well-rounded individual in your mind or how you think?
The first thing that comes to mind when I think of a well-rounded individual is somebody who's experienced in a lot of different facets of life, somebody who's open-minded, somebody who isn't just tied down to their ideas, somebody who can hear a differing opinion and really take it into consideration.
That's a big one. I don't know if anyone's answered it that way before on this show yet. So, no, I love that answer, and I agree with you. Like, to be married to your ideas, the man who already knows it all has no growth in knowledge, right?
Right. Yeah.
I think that's something.
Nobody likes her.
Go ahead.
So nobody likes somebody who thinks they know everything.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something, I don't know what it is. Like, I think you've always really been that way too. Always really been like open-minded and like really curious about like, just like different things, and like open to like you're really good at like giving grace and forgiveness and seeing stuff from other people's perspectives a lot better than I always have been. What do you think? Where does that come from? What kind of like mindset? What do you think? What do you think allows you to do that?
I think, most of all, I don't like looking dumb. Like, I not that you look dumb if you're wrong, but you will if you just stand in the mud and don't go anywhere. If you know you're wrong, you can admit you're wrong and learn from somebody else, and that's how you grow.
Yep.
Yeah,
no. Yeah, just like having an idea and not wavering, being wrong, and not wavering but being able to admit and move forward shows like, I think that shows a lot of like grace and a lot of growth, and people like respect that a lot more than even being right.
Yeah. There's a saying about something like, even though you're in a dirty diaper doesn't mean you have to stay in it.
Right.
You can change it and get better.
That just comes from failing a lot.
Yeah.
Changing a lot of dirty diapers. So let's kind of get into like more of like, just like, so I love your answer, and thank you for answering that way. I think that that's a really great perspective of just like, you know, being able to change your mind and being malleable and adaptable. But we've known each other. I think you're probably my longest running person other than Jenna that I even remember.
Right.
So yeah, we grew up together, and you've been an athlete your whole life, and there's so many things that I remember like about our childhood, like playing in the woods. Like we grew up in a small town, like growing up. I always tell the story about like how like we always, because now that my son is like climbing trees all the time. I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember this, but do you remember like we would always get together and go down to Jayco Lumber and get like a bunch of like 2x4s and like and this was even in Ripley we did this. We would get like a bunch of like 2x4s and like plywood, and I would get nails,
Yeah.
a nail and a hammer, and we would just like build tree houses.
Yeah. I remember going out into the woods and building some of the most shady tree houses around. Very dangerous to be up that high. And we would, we'd build it as high as we could with like just one nail.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
ought to do it.
yeah. I think we did two. So one
Yeah.
on each side to keep it even. And
Yeah.
it's funny because I tell this story a lot because it makes me laugh, because like you see like what a treehouse really should be, and then you're like, oh, like we were like I think I was the oldest one. I was probably 10, and I was the leader, and so I would just build a bunch of steps up a tree, and then we would put plywood down like on these branches, like, and get it as even as possible. And then once the tree house was built, what would we would just go up there and just like kind of like perch like a bird for a little while.
Yeah. And there'd be like three of us trying to sit on a a piece of plywood that's like 2 foot by 2 foot.
Yeah, on a tree that
But we were all up there in the tree.
right. I mean, that was the point, right? We all get up there in the
Yeah.
tree and we do it,
Yeah.
and then all right, what's next?
Yeah. That's just part of what it was like, growing up uh, in the early 90s in West Virginia.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
catching frogs.
we didn't have a whole lot of stuff to do.
Yeah,
And our parents were busy at work and are trying to make a living for the family, and there's nobody there to really like direct us
right.
or tell us, hey, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys shouldn't go that high.
Yeah. I think about that all the time, because like, living in a city where there's literally just like something to do all the time. Like I think about, like, I almost feel bad sometimes. Like I'm like, oh man, like I don't have like anything planned this weekend. And I'm like, dude, like, why do I need to do that? Like
Yeah.
my kid goes to a trampoline park or like does something ultra fun every weekend. And I'm like, that was like a once every 6 months thing for us.
Right. Yeah. There was always something to do. But we lived in like a great neighborhood where there was kids everywhere, and it was just a different time. There was no internet,
Right.
and the fun was outside.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember like waking up in the morning and just being like, let's go. And like
Yeah.
hopping on a bike and just going all day. And there was no plan or anything like that. So yeah, it's completely different times. So like growing up then, I feel like we're the last generation to have that,
Yeah.
to have, a childhood where it was almost feral, not quite feral because we did have, a home and parents, but
Yeah.
during the day, it was kind of like, we're 3.5 years apart. So if I'm 11, you're 8, and we just go. And I couldn't imagine my 6-year-old when he's like 8, just going, like
No.
waking up and going and doing whatever he wants all day.
Right. Yeah. They'd probably put you in jail.
Yeah, they for sure would. They for sure would. I think I told a story on one of the podcasts over the last couple weeks, but I was talking about how like I don't know if you remember those barges that used to be parked on the
Oh
side
yeah.
of the Ohio River. So we grew up on in a little town on the Ohio River, and there were these barges. And for people who, some people, like honestly, people just who don't live in that area don't know what a barge is. Like I said barge, and they're like, "What's that?" So
Yeah.
a barge is like, I call it like a train for the river. So it's
Yeah. Pretty
basically,
much.
yeah, it's kind of like a steamboat that like pushes like a bunch of different like things that carries coal or goods or whatever. But
Yeah.
they would always be parked on the side of the river, and we would always like ride our bikes down to the gravel pit and jump in the
Yeah.
barges and like play in the barges. And my mom texted me, or our mom texted me, and she's like, I never knew you would get on the barges." And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't tell
Yeah.
anybody that.
Yeah. I did. Yeah. There was way worse stuff that we got into. Uh, like I would jump off the barges. They were sticking when they were empty, they'd stick out of the water probably 10 to 12 feet. And I'd run and I'd jump and who knows what is under that water, you know?
That dirty ass Ohio River water.
Yeah.
What?
It was brown as could be. Like you can't see
Anything.
maybe 6 inches deep into that water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was times that I would go to the trestle.
Hmm.
Like me and my friends, we would walk to the trestle on the railroad tracks, walk to a trestle that's probably, I don't know, 40 feet high over what is that?
Mill
Sandy
Creek.
Creek?
Yeah,
Or is
it's
it
some
Mill
kind
Creek?
of creek. I don't know which one it is,
Sandy
but
Creek.
like, yeah, it's a creek,
Yeah.
which isn't, I mean, yeah, it's just a creek.
Yeah. It's not, it's not deep. I remember jumping off and hitting my feet on the bottom. And they would like get stuck in mud and I'd have to like kick my feet back and forth to get out.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. And that's just like even scratching the surface. I think we could probably like think up different like instances where like you look at it now and you're like, I feel like I'm almost like scared for us now as an adult knowing we made it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But I think that was a really great teacher too, because um, Jordan Peterson says something that like the greatest way to learn is for children to learn is have them to do dangerous things carefully. And I don't know if we did those dangerous things carefully, but we always made it. So
Yeah.
I think we learned a lot and we built a lot of confidence,
Yeah.
through navigating the world on your own.
For
And
sure. I think we definitely matured very quickly, uh, growing up the way that we did, and maybe too quickly. You
mhm,
know, there was at 14 years old, like I was doing things that I shouldn't have been doing.
yeah,
You know, I was drinking a lot
mhm,
and other recreational activities.
right.
You know, at 14 years old.
Yeah, and I think that was cultural too, like where we grew up, like there was a lot of that
Yeah.
that happened. There wasn't a whole lot of it was normalized. Um, just because it was just the environment. Um,
Yeah.
and you know, what's wild is like if you like cuz I feel like cuz we were both star athletes as well
Yeah.
growing up. You were a multiple time uh, football all state, and went to play in college. And then I was a wrestler, an all state wrestler as well. So like, but that happened. We were like that our whole entire lives. So like through middle school, through high school, but we were the good kids, kind of.
Yeah.
And
Well,
but
there was a lot worse than us, that's for sure.
see, that's the thing is that if you like made a laundry list of all the things that we got into, and then you looked at like there was a lot worse than us. And it's like, oh my goodness, like, whoa, like that's wild. Because like if I met a kid that did all the crap that we did whenever like if I met a 14-year-old right now that did some of the things that we did whenever we were that age, I'd be like, yo, someone needs to get a hold of this kid and like fix
Yeah.
him, you know,
Yeah.
because we were absolutely out of control.
For sure. Yeah.
I, and
We
I
all, I mean, besides, uh, jumping off trestles and building tree houses that were not up to OSHA standards by any means, uh, we also took it upon ourselves to get other kids together and play football and basketball, baseball, home run derby all the time. I
yeah.
mean, we weren't complete degenerates all the time.
Yeah, no. I'm
We,
not trying to paint that
yeah,
picture at all.
yeah, right. But I think that's part of what contributed to our athleticism.
Right. Yeah, no,
You know?
absolutely. I think it made us a little more well-rounded too, because I think there's a certain confidence that you get from kind of like going off the beaten path and doing your own thing and pushing the limits a little bit that does benefit you in, a competition realm and in a life realm, because you think about it, life is a bit of a competition.
Oh yeah, yeah. But we were pretty lucky. We grew up in a great neighborhood.
Mm,
If you stop and think about it, in a 2 block radius, we had one, two, five all-state athletes that played sports with us regularly in our neighborhood.
yeah. Yeah. I
You
mean,
know, I don't think that's real common.
yeah, no,
But
no, on the same street, right? Or the street below
almost,
us.
yeah,
Yeah.
right,
So, and that's the thing. It's like at the time we didn't know, but I think because we did that, we made each other better too.
for sure. Yeah, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, and that's the thing too that I always tell people about Ravenswood. I'm like, man, like there's some like of the most talented people that you've never heard of that came from that
Yeah,
place.
for sure.
And
And people who were as talented or more talented than we are, but didn't make it because they were the kids that were the more wild than us.
yeah, yeah. I know there's some of the best athletes that we grew up with didn't even play ball.
No, yeah,
And it's insane. Like,
yeah,
yeah, I'm thinking of a couple. I'm not going to say any names, but like
right,
there are some kids that were just like the most incredible, like wildly talented, but they just kind of like didn't have any type of direction, you know?
right,
Um,
yeah.
and
Their influences weren't quite as good, I think.
yeah, yeah,
I think,
absolutely. And that's the thing too. When you think about like influence and things like that, like there are definite hierarchies and statues and levels to that word. And just like, discipline like within the home and things of that nature. But
yeah.
yeah, so what are some other like core memories that you have?
Oh, uh, I remember, even though it was cold, uh, being in the driveway, having 8 kids, 8 to 12 kids, and like during March Madness when it was cold,
Oh
we'd
yeah.
get the Sports Illustrated bracket, cut it out, and be like, "All right, I'm Michigan. Uh, you're North Carolina," and we just write down brackets and have a tournament right there, 1-on-1, playing jam-ball in the driveway
All
with
day.
like 12 other kids
Yeah.
all day,
Yeah.
even though it was cold.
Yeah, it was
You
real
know,
cold.
it March in West Virginia isn't always warm.
Yeah.
You know,
No, it's
those
actually
were some of my favorite times.
mostly not warm. But yeah,
Yeah,
jam ball in the driveway was probably one of the funnest. And then we played football all over the place, but like playing football in the field by the house was good. And then all over town which is really, that's one thing that like sometimes, you know, like I think about, like I'm like, oh man, like if I would have grown up in like a big city or like a bigger area, like there would be more opportunity, like this and that. But also, I wouldn't have got all the stuff that I got. You know, I wouldn't have got
Yeah,
all that self learn that time, like because I mean, if you grow up in a city, most likely you're not going to have the realm, the free roam that we got through
exactly. Yeah.
through our childhood.
Yeah, I think about that. Like, I live in Johnson City. It's not a huge city, but it's big enough to where my kids can't just like ride their bike to their friend's house on the other side of town
Yeah,
to go play,
yeah,
and I'm at work until 6 o'clock at night. Who's going to take them over there?
yeah. So that I think that's why a lot of, and now they're on devices instead,
Right. Yeah.
right? But I mean, your kids are like super athletic, and also, so I think my mom told me this, or our mom told me this. I don't know why I've said that exactly that way a couple times, but Israel,
Yeah.
your son, just set a school record um, in Jackson, Ohio, right? Um,
Yeah.
for is it rush yards or total yards in a season for his school?
Career rushing yards. Uh, he rushed for 2,000 over 2,400 yards in seventh and eighth grade, and set the new school record for Jackson Middle School.
Nice. And how many games is that total? Is it 8 games a season?
Yeah, 16 games.
So 16 games, 2,400 yards. So he's averaging 150 plus a game.
Right. Yeah, I think he had like 35 touchdowns or something like that.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast. Mom said that he got like a plaque on the wall now or something. Or he's got
Yeah,
like,
they're putting up a plaque at his school
that's excellent.
for him breaking the record.
That's excellent. So he's moving into high school next year, ninth grade. Do they have a ninth grade
Yeah,
team, or is he gonna play? Is he gonna like go straight to varsity? What's gonna happen with that?
I'm not sure. I think he's wanting to play varsity, or even JV. They've got a freshman team,
Hmm.
but right now he's about 150 pounds.
Right.
So I've went and watched Jackson's high school, and they're pretty big boys.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have to put on a little bit more weight, hit the weight room, and stick to his exercise routine to really get a chance at varsity next
Right.
year.
Well, I mean,
It's not out of the realm of possibility though.
yeah, and here's the
He's
thing too is that like he's 14 and he's in eighth grade. How tall is he? 5'9", maybe 5'10" now. He's
Yeah,
probably growing.
yeah, yeah.
150.
He's in between 5'9", 5'10".
150. And I think that's the year that you grew like 8 inches, isn't it? Between
Yeah,
eighth and ninth grade.
yeah. And I gained 40 pounds in a year.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and when I was in eighth grade, I wrestled 95. So he's got some size on me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so I'm excited for him. I'm excited for his future. That's going to be super cool to see him just develop and become,
Yeah.
whatever he is going to be. So I'm super pumped
He's
about that.
he, yeah, I can't wait to see, because he's so self-sufficient. He calls me and he asks me for advice with working out and uh, nutrition and supplementation and things like that. We're not going crazy or anything with that kind of stuff, but I'm setting him down the right path. But he does it all on his own. Like, he makes sure that he does his workout every day. He's eating all of his protein. He's tracking his macros and all that kind of stuff at 14 years old, which I wasn't doing that at 14.
No, we were
I
eating
was, I
McDonald's,
was
bro.
out doing whatever I wanted at 14.
Yeah, I remember eating McDonald's. Like we ate McDonald's all the time. So that's incredible that like he like has that. You set a great example for him, and he has a dad that just like is full of knowledge as far as that goes. So, you know, 30 years ago, I mean, no one was doing
Yeah.
that.
Was anybody?
Yeah,
Was anybody that you
yeah,
knew? Maybe one or two people,
right.
in the wrestling world.
Right.
Like,
And the rest, not even
si-
in the wrestling world, bro. Like we were just starving and sleeping in trash bags.
right. There, that was pretty insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, those are some of my greatest memories as well.
What? Oh, the
Uh,
what part?
like, ta- like taking road trips.
Oh yeah,
Uh, One of my most favorite memories was
Brooke.
when we went to Brook. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we went up and we stayed the night at a motel the night before. And when we were there, we were watching this movie, Twins, with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they stayed in a motel that looked almost exactly like ours in the movie.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so cool.
You know,
And
go
I
ahead.
can remember what we listened to
Eric
on the
Clapton.
radio on the way. Eric Clapton timepieces
Yeah.
the entire way up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a cassette tape. Dad had this brand new like
Yeah.
Eric Clapton cassette tape, and we listened to
Yeah.
it front and back like 3 times, like all the way up and all the way back.
Yeah.
I love Eric
Yeah.
Clapton because of that trip, I think.
Me too. Yeah. Yeah. And also there's multiple trips like that. Like one year you and I went up to Clarksburg with Dad and Rodney Workman, and we listened to the Eagles had just gotten back together, and Hell Freezes Over just came out, and we listened to that and Jimmy Buffett all the way up and all the way
Really?
back.
I don't remember that one.
You don't remember that one?
No, no. What year was it?
Oh shoot, 96 maybe 97.
I don't know. Probably not 97 because I was in high school already then.
Oh. Yeah, probably 96, 95, 96.
Okay,
No,
that makes more sense.
I was in the third grade.
So you were 8.
Oh, listen to this story, Adam.
That's 94.
I remember, yeah, I was in the third grade because I remember I was at a school dance, and Dad sent you in to get me. And I was sitting there, playing around with my friends, and all of a sudden you come up and just get me in a headlock and walking me out.
Oh, what a dick!
Yeah, because you were tired of looking for me or something, and you knew, Dad was gonna be mad.
Oh yeah,
if I didn't come out quickly.
Yeah. If I couldn't find you, it was gonna be my fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you came in and just. 1 second I'm sitting there dancing and talking with my friends. The next I'm like, ugh!
Yeah, I bet you're wearing a Jordan jersey too.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably a Jordan, or it may have been Barry Sanders or Deion Sanders.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember in middle school dances, like actually 4th grade. That's not even middle school yet. But that was at the elementary school. But in middle school dances, like the cool thing to do was like wear a jersey to the dance. Like you didn't dress up. Like you always you were wearing a jersey.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, like all of my school pictures, I'm wearing a jersey in from probably 2nd grade to 8th grade.
Yeah, that's funny, man. That's funny.
Yeah.
So let's transition a little bit. And so through high school, you were a star athlete. You guys had like a ton of success in high school. You're first team all state football player, and then at the end of high school, you go to play at Marshall University.
Well, what I so I was on the team, and I was recruited. And about 2 weeks after I graduated, I get a call from the coach that recruited me. And he said, I got some bad news for you. I was like, okay. He says, you didn't pass the NCAA clearinghouse. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you didn't make the grades to come play football. So we can no longer offer this spot to you. We still want you to come to school, and then you can try out in the spring. And I was just devastated. It was, I didn't know anything about the rules
Was
or
that the
anything.
year
I
that
thought,
wasn't that the year the NCAA bumped it up? I thought that was the
uh,
thing.
I'm not sure the exact year, but yeah, I had to have a 2.5 cumulative core GPA, and I had a 2.25.
That's
Yeah.
not good. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought, so long as I've got a 2.0, I can play.
Yeah. And see, that's
So
the
I
thing
never
too, is
really,
like that's where you needed like better guidance and better coaches and better just like leadership. Is like,
yeah,
dude, you're a smart dude. Like you shouldn't be getting anything less than like a 3.5 at school. Like,
I
you know
know.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just like, but that just goes back to like where we were like when we were kids, right? Like we didn't really like, even though like we were like good kids, quote unquote, like you didn't have someone paying attention where like no one was paying attention enough to your grades to get you to go to school when you weren't playing football. And that was
Right.
my
Yeah.
problem too, right? It was like school is so easy, but like if it wasn't wrestling season, like I was not there half the time.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, but here's the thing is like, if you, I don't know if like that's even allowed now. So let's fast forward. So anyways, we won't, get into the weeds on that, but so you end up not playing ball there. You go to school, and then things just don't work out the way you want it.
Yeah. Well, I was completely devastated by uh, not being able to play football anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, uh, that was my entire life goal, my entire dream. And like now, everything that I had planned for the future was not happening,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not going to happen.
Right.
Uh, so, yeah, I get pretty depressed. I was depressed for a long time. Yeah, I went to community college in West Virginia for a little bit. Passed a few classes, but I didn't have any direction. I didn't have any. I didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was nothing that I wanted to do around West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's not a whole lot of industry there.
Right. And what do in the long run? So then from there, you go to the Air Force.
Right. Yeah. Well, I had to do something because I wasn't being productive, uh, and I needed some direction. So I followed your footsteps. You were a big influence in my decision because I'd seen how much success you'd had by going into the Air Force, and it really worked out for me. So yeah, I went into the Air Force July 15th, 2008, and got some of the direction and discipline that I needed to like really set my life into motion and have a better life.
Right. That's what I tell people a lot of times. Like people would always ask me like, would you recommend the military? And I was like, for me, yeah. Like
Yeah.
for a lot of people, if you don't need like that structure, that discipline, and it's just not something you want to do unless you want to go be a war fighter, absolutely. But
Yeah.
for me, you know, I needed it. And I think you probably were the same because, you know, and I think this goes back to childhood and growing up where we did, like, and being, you know, a standout in something the way we were, you get treated a little differently. And then when you go into the military, you're just another person. Right. So it
Right.
kind of like, it kind of brings you down, and like, it opened my eyes a lot on just like the way the world is outside of like that small place where I grew up.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of the people were different, you know, uh, people that are from where we're from are a certain way. And it was nice to see, you know, people from other places. It was very eye opening. You know, a lot of people where we're from have quick tempers and quick to fight
Yeah.
and things like that. And we grew up fighting and stuff as kids, and that stuff's just not tolerated
In a
elsewhere.
regular society.
Right? Yeah, you can't just fight somebody
You
at the
can't just
drop
go
of a
beat
hat.
somebody up for nothing. Yeah.
Right. So there was a lot of growing up that I did whenever I was in the Air Force.
Mhm.
You know, met my first wife and had my kids while I was in the Air Force, and that continued to build my discipline and give me direction.
Yeah, kids are a game changer when it comes to discipline, man.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember whenever Israel was born, like his first breath, I felt like it came out of me. Like whenever I first heard that,
Yeah.
yeah, that first cry, I felt like it came out of my chest,
Yeah. And
and it changed my life.
yeah, and I saw that for you first. I saw that in you firsthand. You know, um, you got two great kids as well, and then and now you got three. Well,
Right.
with
Yeah.
Bentley.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
That was a challenge in its own too. You know, uh, helped me be more patient and you know, when you're kind of raising a kid who has already been in the world for 7 years, whenever you meet him,
mhm,
that's a challenge. You know,
yeah,
is getting along.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And
But
so,
he's a fantastic kid.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, you guys got good kids. Um,
yeah,
so now you're in Tennessee. Um, and you used your GI Bill. You went back, got your education. You're working, living in Tennessee, and 38 now, right? You're 38,
yeah, yeah. I turned 30 in September.
and still fit. Still, you're in your own gym. You're in your home gym right now. Um,
Right. Yeah.
let's talk about that a little bit. Just about like staying fit as we age, like the importance of it to you. You know, what do you like? You know, the desire, where's that come from? You know, the ability, or just the want to keep that going for life. You know, as we approach middle age, I don't think I'm middle aged yet because I'm going to live way longer than 82. So I won't be middle aged till at least I'm in my probably 50s. So I'm saying as we approach middle age, what do you think is most important? Why do you think we kept that ball rolling, and what's it do for you?
Well, I like to be capable. You know, I like to be capable to run and jump and climb. I like to have fun. I still like being active. Like, sitting on the couch does not appeal to me.
Mhm.
You know, like I want to get out. I want to hike. I want to swim. I want to ski. I want to do, I would still play basketball.
Yeah.
Just the other day, Bentley and I were out on the football field running routes. I go to the track once a week and do pyramids. It's that's what I like to do.
Mhm.
If I'm overweight and my joints are hurting and I can't do all the things that I love to do, what am I doing?
Yeah. And I think capable was the biggest thing that you said there is because like especially like, once you get to middle age, like no one's gonna go back and be in the NFL. Right. And even you see like
No. Yeah.
guys, in their 40s fighting and stuff, the guys who used to be the best that like I mean, they're losing to guys who just weren't as, aren't as good anymore because I mean age, father time, has mercy on no one. But being capable and being able to like just live a life where you don't have to like put so much limits on yourself.
Yeah, I can't imagine not being able to get up and do the things that I do or want to do. I work in a orthopedic physical therapy every day, and I see people who have taken the easy way, and now we've got to replace their joints.
Right.
We're you know we're doing total knees, total hips, total shoulders, uh, rotator cuff repairs, and things like that for people who don't have balance anymore. And they're young,
Hmm.
in their early 60s, and they've fallen, tried to catch themselves, and their shoulder comes out
Right.
and rip their. I don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
You know, I like to be capable and active all the time.
Yeah, and that's what I tell everyone too. Is like that's the thing. Is like the biggest threat for of life for elderly people is falls, because
Yeah,
if you're not strong enough and you fall down and you break something, you can't recover. And so that's why I like to like really like just like you know uh, preach and just emphasize the importance of weight training, like when you're young and continuing it throughout, especially for women. I think it's more like, I mean, obviously it's important for men too, but like, especially for women to be able to, because women outlive men on average. So, once the man's gone, then what do you do? Right? You got to be strong yourself. But
right.
people in general, just be stronger longer um, in order to live. That's crazy. So, what do you see like through your work? Tell me about that. Like you're talking about like people who are getting joint replacements, hip replacements, shoulder replacements. How young does that go?
Uh, I mean, there are some people who have had the youngest I've ever had have a joint replacement. He's a 33,
Damn.
had a hip replacement, but they were an athlete, a professional athlete, and
Okay,
they
that makes
just
sense.
worn the hips out
Yeah.
over the years. But typically, um, we're looking at anywhere from 40, 45 to 70 is our average probably
Interesting. You
for
like it?
joint replacements.
You like
I
working in
love it.
physical
I
therapy?
love working for the company that I work for. Uh, and it's really rewarding to be in the position that I'm in to help people who don't know how to exercise, don't know the first thing about a structured exercise program,
Hmm.
to help them go from not being able to walk to being able to stand on one leg balancing while throwing a ball
Right.
back and forth, you know, and just seeing the progression and helping people's lives get better is really rewarding. It's probably the best part of the job.
Yeah, for sure. And that's super fitting too. It's kind of like, we're a little bit in the same field except for yours is a little more official. I just kind of, yeah. So you're helping people that, I mean, we're doing the base thing, a
Yeah.
similar thing, which is
Yeah,
good. And
your level is just a little bit higher than mine.
oh,
I'm getting them off the floor and you're getting them on the second floor.
right, right. So I'll pick it up. I'll pick them up
Right.
when you let them
Right.
go. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Um, So what now? So you guys are living in Johnson City. You have a house, you homeowner now.
Yep.
How's that, dude? Because I've had a house before, and actually I still have a house. I just don't live in it. Um, so what are,
Yeah.
what do you think about that? Do you prefer it?
Um, yeah.
You're a lot more
Uh,
handy than I am. So
well, I got a new build. We were having a really hard time buying a house in the market last year because it was so competitive. And we got a new build and a subdivision that was just being built. So everything's brand new and nothing's broken yet. So that's a good thing. We haven't had to replace it. Everything's under warranty and stuff for now.
there we go.
But yeah, I definitely uh, prefer buying over renting.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because we're building something
Yeah,
here.
it looks like.
This is an asset.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're building something where you are too. I see Bob back there. So
Yeah,
you have a home gym as
really
well.
started building my own gym.
Okay, nice. So that's something that like I think all like a man cave slash like home gym is something that we all want to do. So you're on the right track there. We all need that. What did you start with? Like what would you like? Let's say for instance, like I wanted to start. Like where would you start? What did you start? How'd you build it?
Um, First, I just needed a space.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm out here. I got my space in my garage, which is it's pretty big. It's about I think it's 30 by 12. The first piece of equipment that I got though was a pull-up bar
Oh yeah.
because it's so versatile and so is the one thing that's really going to build upper body strength.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can do push-ups on the ground.
Right.
I got pull-ups. I got TRX straps. And that's really, with that right there, you can do a complete upper body and lower body workout.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing that I tell people too is like, do you ever get someone that asks you, like, what are like 3 things that you would do? Like, if you could do anything, I'm like, pull ups, push ups, and squats, right? Air squats.
Squats.
If you do air squats, you have a pull up bar and you can do push ups, like, you can be strong AF. You know what I mean? Like, you can just do
Yeah.
500 of those a day and you
Yeah.
don't need anything except for the ability to do it. And if you can't do 500, start with 5. During the pandemic, like that's all I did. Like, of course, I ran outside all the time, but I had a pull-up bar in the house, and every time I walked by it, there's nothing else to do. Do a set of pull-ups every time.
Yeah. Like I got tired of paying gym fees,
Yeah, that's
and
true
I
too.
wanted to be able to work out whenever I wanted.
Yeah,
So I built this, and it wasn't expensive. It didn't take anything, and I can progress and as I get stronger, I can always make it harder.
yeah, for sure.
Whenever I start out with squats, and then I go to jumps, and then I go to pistol or split squat or a lunge, and then a pistol squat, and then I can pick up dumbbells and make it harder.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And
it's
that's just
just
like in a
taking it
foundation,
one
building
step at
like
a
a
time.
foundation and building upon it.
Yeah,
Which is just like anything in
exactly.
life, right? Just like anything in life. Anything you want to get good at, you start small and continue to build on it and build that foundation. So, man, there's so much I wanted to talk to you about, but we've been going for an hour already. It's already 4 p.m.
Man, that's pretty quick. Yeah, we could
10
go
minutes?
forever.
Oh, we got 10 minutes. Oh, we started late, so we got 10 minutes. We still got 10 minutes.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, so let me think. We're gonna have to do this again. You're gonna have to come in and do in person, and we'll structure it and get it going. So what's
Yes.
what's the future hold? What are you looking to do? What are some things that are like on the horizon for you, for the family, for the kids, things of that nature?
Really just looking to build on what we have. Like this is this house is great, but I'd like to get, a house even bigger so I can, fit everybody in it.
Yeah.
You know, get everybody, and I'd love to get Israel down here from Ohio. I know he loves Ohio. But I think if he could be here with me and Bentley, we would really, I mean, we could just take his level, his skills to another level.
Right. And the
It
program,
would be,
the program where you guys are, what's the is it called Science Hill? And
yeah, Science Hill High School in Johnson City.
yeah, and they have a great program, right?
Yeah, they're 7-1 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Spurrier went here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Steve Spurrier Field is the name of the stadium. But yeah, I mean, we've just got so much more opportunity and training and facilities and things like that for
Mm-hmm.
him to utilize. It would be great for him to come down here and
What do you
be
think?
with me. And
What's the over under on that?
uh, I'm pretty optimistic.
That's the
I'm
thing
really
too. Well,
optimistic.
here's the thing. Here's the sell, right? Is that I know Israel likes his friends, and
Yeah,
but Israel also likes setting himself apart from everyone
yeah,
else. And Israel likes to be special, and he is special because he's always been
yeah,
special, and he's always been uh, better at at everything than everyone, right?
yeah,
But in order to continue to separate himself, he's going to need the facilities. He's going to need the opportunity. He's going to need the things that a school like that can provide. And Ohio has some great football. They really
yeah,
do, but it depends on where you are in football. And there's some recruiting out of Ohio, but I think being in the South, being in SEC country, and standing out in a program like Science Hill, that's an easy sell.
yeah. And he's pretty logical. I think being able to convince him. Uh, he's still really attached to his friends and the people there in Jackson. He's like a celebrity there.
Yeah,
So I've got to convince him, it's great to be great in a place like that.
that big fish in a small pond.
Right. But you need to get out of your pond a little bit
Yeah, and
and see
imagine
how great you can be.
yeah, exactly. You can only grow so big in a small pond.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's something that we both had to learn the hard way. and
Yeah.
it's
Well,
nice to have
also,
go ahead.
also, we didn't have that opportunity
Yeah, that's what I'm
that
saying.
he has.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we didn't. We were in Ravenswood, and that's where we were. I mean,
Mhm.
you got to go to Ripley, but
Mhm.
that was like
It's the same thing.
going sideways.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
same thing.
yeah. Uh, I remember begging mom to move to Parkersburg
Mhm.
my freshman year. Yeah, because she already worked there. I was
Yeah.
like, well, why don't we just move here? You'll be closer to work, and I'll get to go to PHS or South,
Yeah.
which are AAA schools and powerhouses. And at that time, PHS had won they won 3 in a row
Mm-hmm.
right before. I think your senior year was their
Yeah, they lost.
last
They
one.
lost in the finals when I was a senior because Josh Romeo played for them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And but yeah, she didn't really have the opportunity.
But you got to look
either,
at
I
it
think.
like this too. Like that's still not necessarily a huge step up, right?
Right.
So, because how big is Science Hill? Is it a 5A school?
Yeah.
So, how big does it go
Well,
in Tennessee?
I think there's 6A.
Okay. But
I
either
think so.
way,
I
like
don't know.
it's a big school with a big program and lots of eyes on it.
Yeah.
So that's where.
Yeah, I think there's like 5,000 kids in the school or something like that.
Yeah, that's a big school.
Maybe bigger.
That's more than the whole town that we lived in.
Right. The whole town of Ravenswood could fit
Yeah.
inside of Science Hill.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's, man, I'm staying hopeful with you on that, and I know that you're gonna guide him in the best way possible. That's a nice thing about you, man. Though, is that like you like have like this guidance without force, right? So like you can't force anyone to do anything, and you know that. And like that's what I think you've been so patient with, like his transition of like wanting to try new things and like going to different places and living with his mom and stuff like that. And you know what would be most beneficial for him as far as that goes, but you're not forcing it upon him. And I think that we've gone full circle in this conversation, and goes back to like what your definition of well-rounded is, and like not being married to your ideas, and the ability to let people have their own thoughts, opinions, and develop their own, way of thinking and way of doing things.
Yeah, Israel's a logical kid. He's very logical. I think that he will see how much it would benefit him to be here.
Yeah.
And eventually, and the old adage is, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Yeah.
I mean, you could hold his head underwater, but then he's either going to get out and be pissed and try and kill you, or drown.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't see any benefit to forcing him to doing something that he could eventually make his own mind up to do.
Yeah.
Because it's good for him. It's better for him. It's best for him.
Yeah, that's the only thing you can do, is just feed people good information and hope they see the light the way. We could use that in many different analogies for this day and age. But with that being said, we're coming up on an hour. Thank you for doing this with me, and I want to do it again in person. And we'll just continue to to add to the story and tell funny stories, and we'll have to do it more often. And I'm glad that I got to sit down with you for an hour. Thank you so much for doing it, and I love you, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone.
That's awesome. Thanks for having me. I really, really enjoyed it. I love you, dude.
All right. Talk to you later.
See ya.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. If you could, please, if you'd like to, if you made it this far, subscribe, like, share this, and we will see you again next week.